Welcome to BoarderLine. We are back from Texas. We are back from Miami. We're back from Topeka, but only briefly.
Yeah.
I mean, literally, we're doing this show on a Tuesday because everyone's traveling tomorrow, and there's a bunch of stuff going on up in Erie.
I'm traveling today.
Pennsylvania
As soon
for
as we're
setup
done,
on
I'm literally getting in my truck
Thursday.
and going.
Oh my gosh! Okay, and then and then away we go. What, Friday, Saturday, Sunday with broadcast, but it obviously starts before then.
And then
busy
I
weekend.
get back in a truck and drive to the Outer Banks from Erie.
Oh, what are you doing out there? A little
Julie's
vacation?
family, yeah. Julie's family every year gets a beach house. in
Finally,
Corolla.
some vacation, right? Little
Yeah. And so I'll
R&R.
spend a few days there, then drive back to Atlanta, then we fly back out. So
Yeah,
crazy.
and then you'll have to turn around and go to Mesa. Unfortunately, I'm going to miss Mesa. It's going to be the first event, Bernie, I think I've missed since I started this whole thing with Trey back in 2020. I don't think I've missed one.
No, you know what's upsetting to me right now, though? You
What's
haven't
that?
even noticed.
You know what? I thought when you first signed on just a few minutes ago, I'm like, wait a second, did you shave your face?
By the way, and being so pale, you got to love this light coming in. This is an absolute wrong time of day to record in here because of the way the sun is. So I'm completely washed out because I'm so pale.
It's just a big old cue ball with the sun shining off.
There's a thumb with eyes and a blue shirt on your screen.
Awesome. A thumb with eyes. Yeah, you went clean. You are like you're down to the scalp all over.
Yeah, man.
Does Julie like that?
To start anew? I don't know. I don't think she's a big fan of the beard. So,
and with my beard, I've always liked the beard.
And with but I look 30 years older with a gray beard. Man. A white.
Yeah, but at our age, what are we trying to do? You know, I mean,
I got to see.
I'm
not listening to you on this. You've got a perfect head of hair. You look fine for your age. I'm bald with a gray beard. I look like I'm 70 instead of 52.
But I think at our age we're supposed to be kind of
No. You're not supposed to look 70 when you're 50.
You don't look 70.
I had someone at the store thought I was 65 the other day.
Okay. Sorry. So 65.
Right.
It's not 70.
Shouldn't look 65 when you're 52.
At least you get some nice discounts for it.
Right. That's exactly what they were thinking at the store. I was like, no, I'm only 52, so need to maybe take this giant white beard off.
See, I think the beard is just a hip, current look. That's why I like it.
Sure. It's cool. I mean, I'm probably going to grow something back, but I figured it was time to come down a little bit.
What happens if you were to grow out your hair? Could you grow stuff on the side? Can you grow anything on top?
Yeah, it's all gray.
Okay.
I can't grow anything on top, but as far as the sides and the back, yeah. But it's just I have really thin straight hair. So when it grows out, it's not like it's full and curly and no, it's just it comes out straight and thin. So it's not an advantage really to have hair.
I like it, but it's a total hypocrisy on my behalf, or double standard, whatever you want to call it, because I hate it. I mean, when I got my hair kind of shaved on the side, I do like the look, but when I saw all that gray, I just about screamed.
Dude, you have no idea. You have no idea. You've got this perfect head of hair. Just so that guy, perfect voice, perfect head of hair, good looking dude, talking to me about gray hair. Unbelievable. I'm not listening. The people out there aren't listening either. Come on, Jeff. You got it going on, man. Enjoy it. It.
I don't feel like I do, but thank you. I feel like if I had it going on right now, I would be Josh Duhamel. I'd be Bradley Cooper.
Well,
I'd be at the top of my game.
That's a little different.
Traveling around the world. You know what? I would be Jackson Olsen. And I would have millions of social media followers. How about that dude? That dude was fun this weekend.
That was crazy.
Yeah,
that was a fun week. That was some interesting folks.
I've got a lot to talk about, by the way, this week.
Let's do it. Let's get into it.
I'm still deciding. Like literally, I've been deciding all morning how much I want to talk about certain things and how much I don't want to talk about certain things. First of all, we will have our power rankings coming up, tough. This week's tough. I mean, you and I were doing these pretty much here up to the final second. There's lots of names that can go in this. And this next week in Erie, is I can't wait to see what happens. There are so many players playing at such a high level right now, and I love it.
Well,
Absolutely.
you know what's interesting, because last night on ACL Live we go through and we broke down the singles bracket. Look at some of the names that are barely top 100 players, like a Ryan Windsor.
Mm.
He's a 25 seed, so that puts him somewhere between 96 and 100.
Yeah, so
right?
deceiving though with just the one event though. I mean, that's
Yeah,
that's
but
why
that
I
one
was
event
just
counts. But see, like, all right, well, that's kind of my point with having certain people. Like, you look at an Alan Rawls as a 1 seed, Jake Gore as a 1 seed. Are they really top 4 in the world? Because that's what their seeding has them.
yeah.
I don't know if
get
I
it.
buy that, And so the same thing is, we're doing these top 10 lists, and I'm going through, and I was looking, thinking about the seeding and the present rankings. Essentially, I was like,
Yeah.
wow, how. I mean, how some of the mighty have fallen. I mean, you look at a Ryan Windsor, a 25 seed. You look at a Jamie Graham as a 13 seed.
Mm.
You start going down this list. It's like, wow, that's crazy. Some
Yeah.
people are just not playing well, and that's so. Anyway, we'll get to that later.
Yeah, it
I
was tough. It was
digress.
tough this week. It was tough this week. I mean, that's one of the things. I actually had a conversation with Trey about it yesterday. With these rankings, and our stats as well. I'd almost like to have a combined, if we want to call it like a combined ranking and combined stats, where it includes your season stats.
You're a baseball guy.
Yeah, when it looks like, well, and we use the analogy of college basketball too. Like I'll use Coastal Carolina because I do a lot of their games. But let's say Assam Mustafa, who just transferred to TCU, by the way, which is a huge loss for Coastal. 6'9", 250. I mean, he's like a mini Luka Garza, who no one's going to know that name because he played at Iowa. But
Yeah, I know who you're talking about. Literally, there's 5 people in Iowa, 5 Iowa fans that know that name. Literally 5.
People are like, look, what? What the hell
Who is he talking about?
Stop talking about Iowa people. You're an idiot.
I mean, with the other Iowa people you could mention, you went Luka Garza.
Yeah, right. Yeah. Sorry. So anyway, but so he is. I mean, he is. I mean, 6'9", 250. So he goes to TCU. But anyway, so my point is, there's combined stats and there's conference stats. But I'd like to know what someone's season stats are. Like when I look at a Hunter Thorne, I'd love to know what his stats are for 2023. I mean, open. I mean, shootout. Well, like whatever event you have registered in as a pro player, even though you might not be playing against pros all the time, whatever you've registered as a pro player for 2023, I'd love to know what your stats are.
Do we not have that?
And it's kind of like no, not yet. But Trey said, I mean, we were talking about it, and they're thinking about doing it for next year because it's like in college basketball. When Kansas plays Washburn, it's a non-D1, but still the guy's stats count, right?
Sure.
So yeah, it's not them playing against Michigan State in a non-conference, and it's not them playing against Texas in a conference game, but it still counts. But then it's sortable. You can sort those. So if I want to see Hunter Thorne's 2023 stats, which include shootouts, opens, nationals, whatever, I can see that. But if I want to sort it and see what he's just done in nationals, then we can see that. I think that'd be really cool to do because now
absolutely.
the rankings are just like Fisher Hamilton. Spoiler alert. He's killing it right now. I feel like we are seeing him make a good run pretty much everywhere, but he just didn't finish well in Corpus Christi. So I think those are deceiving. I mean, currently he's 40. Yeah, currently he's 45th in the world. I don't think that's right. I think he can beat the crap out of a lot of people right now. But
especially in doubles, I think he's playing better in doubles than he is in singles, and that's
he and Gavin are playing really well.
And that's kind of here comes the sun again, just to wash everything out. You want to be able to see me now. I'm just gonna be completely just a white screen here.
That's all right. But you know what I'd love to do? That's another point in mind. I wish this was just. Do you ever listen to Smartless? The
yes.
podcast.
I actually saw it live.
Podcast.
I saw it live in New York a couple years ago.
Man.
Or last,
I'd love to see them. I'd love to see them live.
It was a little silly. I mean, it's just 3 guys sitting on a couch. They brought up a couple of guests. It was a little silly.
Sticky.
Just silly. I mean, it wasn't like their normal podcast. It was, to me, it seemed remarkably unscripted. Like it seemed like they had no real plan, which is fine, right? Yeah. But in New York, the ticket prices are pretty high, sold out, and you go in there and it's just 3 guys, just whatever. It was different.
So my point with that is, it's just a podcast. Literally just audio. How great would that be to not have to be on camera and just do an audio podcast? Be so much better, right? Then we don't have to worry about shaving, not shaving. We don't have to worry about light, too much light, not enough light.
Well, the funny thing is, I don't worry about any of that stuff at all.
I do. I know.
I mean, I look how I look. I mean, I'm not going to change. I'm not going to become this really good-looking guy at some point. It's not happening for me. So I don't worry about it. Yeah.
But you know what I mean? It'd be so easy just to have audio.
Sure.
All right. So that was one topic I wanted to bring up, and Trey and I had a good conversation about that. And I think next year we'll have something like that where if you want to see what someone's done all year, you'll get that. But if you want to sort it and see what they've just done in shootouts, because I think that'd be interesting too. If we could make it sortable, I think it'd be awesome.
No, I'm with you. I mean, I think you would see some of the open warriors that everyone they're playing so well. Look what they're doing in the opens, and then you see them in nationals and shootouts, and you see they're very different.
Yeah,
I'm with you. I'd love to see those stats.
I loved what you said, by the way. I mean, speaking of different games and different stats and different dynamics, I was listening to you and Wally while I was prepping for this weekend because I listen to you guys and kind of follow the action through the brackets. Mm-hmm. And then I'm kind of updating my notes as you guys go along. But I love what you said about Mark Richards because Mark made a nice run, though. I actually thought this might be the weekend.
It's going to happen sooner or later.
That we get Mark on a pro shootout singles broadcast. I mean, it seemed like he was trending that way. But I thought your point was just terrific, that he's used to outlasting people. And he needs that time. He really needs that time to work you and to kind of feel everything out. And I love that. I love when you were saying that because I think you were spot on with that. Just such a different dynamic for him.
And I think it's tough for him to be very aggressive early. I don't think he's used to it. And in shootout formats, especially the top players, if they can be aggressive early, get a few points, then outlast them, make them chase you. Yeah. Right? Then just throw bags in the hole and they'll never catch him. But I think it's tough for him to be super aggressive early to get a 2, 4, maybe 5 point lead. And then they're not going to catch him. Right. But I don't think he does that well yet. And I think he struggles with the mindset of a round limited format. So we'll see. I mean, it's going to happen sooner or later. He's too good. But it's interesting to see that Matt Guy, who I think has kind of figured it out a little bit, and Mark Richards have struggled in the round limited format where other players have seemed to, like a Ryan Smith, for example, who I think is still kind of struggling in games to 20, not struggling, but not at his top form in games to 21, but he's a shootout wizard.
Yeah.
Right. So it's interesting.
You know what? I've mentioned this before to people off the air that one of my favorite things about the sport is our access to players. I don't get that, right? I mean, in college football, the college football players are untouchable. I mean, the coaches really don't want to talk to you. You know, we have conference calls that these coordinators and head coaches begrudgingly join us on during the week. Right? They don't want to be there. And in basketball, same thing. You can kind of get the players a little bit on the court beforehand because we sit on the court, so you get them a little bit. But in our sport, cornhole, we have access to all these guys. I got their telephone numbers, so you know what? I'm just going to call Mark and have a conversation with him about that because I thought what you said was so spot on, and I found myself saying, "Man, I wish Mark was a part of this conversation right now because I'm not so sure."
He might see it differently. I mean, he might.
I don't think so, Bernie. I think he'd agree with you, but again, that's the great thing. I mean, you know, I've mentioned it before. When I want to call these guys, we can just call them. So I'll call them and ask them. Hey, quick shout out, Lori Duel. Man, what a huge bounce back for her, right?
Sure.
That's got to be tough, Bernie. You and I talk about this. You know, sometimes we get in the way of our own head. Not sometimes, a lot of times we can get in the way of our own heads. And, you know, for Lori to be able to, you know, lose in the finals, especially having that game won basically not in Miami, but in Florida, South Florida, to have that one against Rosie, and then to lose it late, and then to come back the next week and win and go through the gauntlet again of the single elimination, just to have that determination and that fire and that consistency to come back and do it. I'm so impressed with Lori. I really thought that was a huge win against Elizabeth Tennyson, who I was really impressed with. I mean, she doesn't suck at all. She's really good. And I mean, you talk about, I mean, you know, we talk about the lights and people being nervous on TV, and she's like, what lights, what TV?
Yeah,
She
she
was
played
so
great.
locked in. I mean, she that moment was not too big for her. So I mean, that could have gone sideways for Lori, but
I think
man, huge
Elizabeth
win.
Tennyson, and in the shootout kind of format, I think that shows that any level of professional can do it if they get hot, because they're all really good. And I think that kind of gets lost in the shuffle with us being so recency biased and so elite biased within the sport. They're all really, really good. And all it takes is one hot day, especially in a round limited format. And you have a player like Elizabeth Tennyson, who, if we're being honest, isn't one of the top 10 women. She's
No,
not. And then she just gets
she
hot,
played
rolls
like
through.
it. She
Yeah.
played like it this weekend.
And they can all do that. And that's
Yeah.
what I mean. I think it's kind of staying in that moment. I think some of them kind of get lost in the moment. And I think she did really well. I was surprised, to be honest. I thought she played a lot better on the broadcast court than I thought she was going to.
It's so funny that you use that expression "lost in the moment" because that's something that's an expression that I heard from Carrie Underwood of all people, believe it or not, years ago. Because she used to, believe it or not, battle with stage fright, and she might still. A lot of them do. I mean, people have no idea. I mean, a lot of these entertainers get nervous. A lot of these actors and actresses get nervous behind the scenes. They forget lines. You just don't see that because they cut it out.
I'm terrified of talking on a
Carrie
microphone.
used to get some pretty good stage fright, and that's what she used. That was kind of her saying that she used to get past the nerves, was try and get lost in the moment. And I've talked to our players about this. I mean, I've talked to many of them about this. I don't want to mention anyone by name, but that's something that performers will do, is try and get lost in the moment, because when you get lost in the moment like that, everything else goes away. You're so hyper focused in your muscle memory and your mechanics that the nerves kind of go away. And you're right. It looked like Elizabeth just got lost in the moment. I mean, she was totally locked in.
Yeah.
I was so impressed. So, what'd you think of the weekend? Did you like the weekend? Did you like Super Hole?
It was good. I think, look, I think Super Hole's great for the sport. I think it's great for exposure. It's just so difficult because
This is my transition, by the way, into what I kind of want to talk about.
You want to keep the crowd involved, but right now cornhole crowds don't understand, and it's my job, and I'm not doing a very good job of it. Obviously, they've got to be more energized. This is not, Super Hole's not going to be good cornhole. That's not why they're there, and I think that gets lost on people. They're not there because they're great cornhole players. They're there to have fun and put on a show, and it's more fun when the crowd's interactive and yelling and having a good time with them. And we just don't have that. And I don't think, at least I can't do it. I can't be the one that makes them that way. I mean, even, the Peloton girl who actually had dinner with, and I can't remember her name.
Kendall
Toole. She even tried, right? She even went out and was like trying to, and it's flat. It's just
she got them going for about 15, 20 seconds.
That's about it, right? And then like that's what happens, and then they settle back in, and I guess they want to see. I don't know what they want to see actually, but we've got to figure out a way to get them more involved. See, I love Super Hole, but it's different, and it actually has to be tough for you guys to make it seem.
Yeah,
because it's not very good. It's not a good representation of the sport on television.
Yeah.
And that's tough.
It's difficult when there's no atmosphere whatsoever. It's like back in my minor league baseball days, when I'm calling a Greensboro Bats game against the Fayetteville Crocs on a Wednesday night, and there's literally 23 people in the stands, and somehow you got to make this sound like Game 6 of the World Series,
right?
And it just ain't happening. As good as you sound, you need some sort of atmosphere there to help you out a little bit.
Yeah. And you hear the one guy, come on, boo.
Yeah, so this is one of my points, and people like it. You and I were talking this week. People like it when we peel back the curtain. Do we need to start piping in some crowd noise? Like, what is going on this year? Like the crowds, and I don't want to say crowds because we don't have big crowds yet. But our crowds are our players. But like even the players who are normally there, who are normally energetic and into it. Like when we cut our open, Trey and I used to stand on the court and we'd have the camera fly down and we'd be on TV and the people are going nuts behind us.
I don't know why we went away from that.
Is it staged? Sure, it's staged, but people like it. We all had fun.
Yeah.
And perception is reality, right? It's got a big time feel when you do something like that.
Sure.
You know, I mean, it sounds like and it looks like there's a lot of people there,
And it works. I don't know why they went away from it.
Yeah, I don't know either. But we're not getting that energy. We're not getting energy while the players are playing. I mean, it's just I don't know. Like I remember, I think you and maybe you and Wally or you and Anthony wouldn't have said something like this, but I think it was you, and I think it was in Corpus Christi, or was it Wally that made the comment that even the crowds around the live stream courts weren't as big.
Yeah, I was saying that.
Was that you?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and I totally agree with you. I was like, where is everybody at? And so I have a theory, and I'm I don't know if I don't want to approach this. It's like when we were talking about the whole slide game, you know, and clean slide game versus the dirty bag, right? I don't want anyone to misconstrue what I'm about ready to say like it's a negative, because I think that's one of the good things about our show is that, you know, I can't, I believe it or not, I think you can. I cannot break down the sport like Trey and like Anthony, right? I just can't do it. I don't play at a level like Wally. I don't. I'm trying. I'm not there yet. I'll get there. But so I think my biggest asset as a broadcaster and doing this podcast and just being involved with you guys and behind the scenes having conversations with Trey and Fred and Stacy is that I come at this like a fan. You know, I mean, as an insider and as a broadcaster and as someone who's very passionate about the sport, and I love broadcasting. I love watching it, but I'm a fan, and I'm starting to wonder, Bernie, kind of going along the lines of what we were talking about. Do we have too much cornhole going on right now? You know, and go
oversaturation.
Yeah, I mean, go with me for a second, because I wrote this down. Because and again, please, I'm not being negative about this, but what I want is greatness. I've mentioned this many times. You know, that's why I don't like an all dirty game. I don't want to see that. I don't want to see crap on the boards. I don't want to see misses. I want to see greatness. And it's the same thing with the season. I want all of our greatest players to be at every single event. If you don't, you know what happens? It's the XFL. It's the USFL. And trust me, ESPN is scrambling right now because the ratings with that suck, because it's not a high level that people expect. So here's what we have now. We have 8 pro shootout qualifiers. We have a pro shootout championship. We have a pro invitational. We have the kickoff battle. We have Cornhole Mania. We have Bag Brawl. We have the Final Chase. We have the World Championships. We have 8 Super Hole qualifiers, you know, with a lot of celebrities that many of us don't know, playing against players who we don't know, 8 of them. Then we have a Super Hole Championship, and now we've got 16 teams on top of that, you know, playing every weekend. But sometimes we see them, sometimes we don't, and we're going to have teams championship. It's like, okay, like, man, really? Players can't make all those. They can't possibly travel to all those events. I mean, I'm just wondering. And again, I'd love.
Well, all those events are intertwined. I mean, let's be hold on. Let's be honest about that. A lot of those events are intertwined. They're on the same weekend, so it's not like they're traveling to a lot of individual things. Your team's contests are going to be where a national is. Your shootouts are going on where Super Hole is. So you're not traveling to each individual one of those things. They are the same weekend, but. I hear what you're saying. I agree with it, especially with Super Hole. I think it's very difficult for people to get excited when they don't know who the celebrities are. And that's not a knock on Marlon. That's not a knock on anyone else.
Correct.
It's just if they're not A or even B level celebrities, you're not going to get buy-in from an average person who has zero, and I mean zero, idea of who they are. Now, what we're trying to do, at least from what I can gather, is you're trying to get celebrities that have followers, and you're trying to get them to interact with their followers. So if you get someone that has 3.1 million followers on Instagram, in today's world, that has value. The average human being at home may not have any idea who they are, especially if they're over the age of 35, right? They have no idea who that person is.
No.
And that's a problem, and that's a problem live, because there's no buy-in, there's no care. Like, I don't care what that person does. Now, when we had the Buffalo Bills players, everyone's an NFL fan in this country for the most part, right? You had buy-in. Even if they weren't, you know, Josh Allen out there, you still had some buy-in from those guys. I'm with you to a degree. I don't know if we've reached an oversaturation level yet, but I hear what you're saying. And I think this is where the shootouts hurt. Because once you get past the first 4 or 5, you've lost a lot of your top players. Right? They've already qualified. Well, they're not coming back. You might see them in doubles, but they're not coming. They're not playing in singles, so you're not going to see them again. I think the Nationals still have a national vibe. I think they're always going to be. I think you'll see a completely different field this weekend. And the teams events are at national weekends, so it's different. It's not like they're having to travel
more from
to
a
something.
Viewer. I mean more from a viewer.
I understand.
Viewer's perspective. It's like at some point the viewer is like, what am I watching? Wait a second. I thought we just saw a championship last week. But now we're talking about a different championship this week. And now we're
but Jeff, we do that with golf. Jeff, you do that with golf, you do that with tennis. You have a complete season where golf is on every single weekend. Every single weekend through the summer. From the start of January through the end of September, golf is on every single weekend. Okay?
Yeah, but
you're not getting the top player. You're not getting the top players every week, but they're still there. Tennis is on every week.
Yeah.
I mean, you're not getting the top players except for certain moments.
But it's so simple though, right? It's the tour. It's the PGA Tour.
That's what we have. You're talking as if we don't have that. We now have that.
Yeah, but
that's exactly what we have.
But we have the shootouts. We have
Jeff. You have that in golf. You have that in golf with you have your 4 majors. You have it with your, what do they call those? There's like the set of like 8 different tournaments that kind of go up. You have your match play championship, and you have certain championships that aren't the majors, but yet they count more. I mean, you have that in other sports, and that's what I think Cornhole is trying to replicate. Now, I see what you're saying from a viewership stand. I don't think we're there yet. I don't think we're oversaturated yet, but I get your point. I think it's a very valid point. I just don't think we're there yet. We're close.
Well, again, that's why I'm asking.
I think I'm with you. I would have to ask, all right, what are our ratings? Are our ratings, is there a precipitous drop because we're oversaturated? I don't think there is yet. And so I think that's a good question. I like the idea. I like where you're coming from. I think it's an interesting point. I don't think it's going to work well in the room with Trey and Stacy and Fred.
Yeah.
Hey, guys, we're oversaturated. I think we need to cut back on all this. I don't think that's going to go over well. But
it's just a thought.
I think it's close. I think it's a really valid point you bring up, and I hope they're watching so they'll pay attention to it. I think
they do. Yeah, they watch. I mean, Fred has told me that I mean, he loves watching our show because it helps him learn other people's opinions, and he literally takes stuff that we say into their meetings, and they will talk about these things. And that's why I just wanted to bring it up. And again, I'm not trying to bring it up as a negative, but something I am worried about. Like if it were me, I would do away with the Super Hole qualifying series. Because now again, don't misconstrue what I'm saying. I love Super Hole. I want to do Super Hole. I want to do 10 players, right? And do, give a couple people a bye, whatever you want to do 10, maybe do 12, maybe do 8. But do a big event that's at the Super Bowl. I get it. We can't be at the Super Bowl. It's super expensive. But do it like we did the first couple of years where it's in and around somewhere in the vicinity of.
And
just blow it up. Put it on national TV, and it is great exposure. All this other stuff, I don't know if I'm buying it. I don't know. Again, I love meeting these people, and I love being there. And it's pretty cool. The cornhole sucks. I mean, it's really not great. I mean, it's really not great to watch. They're just not good. And again, when I see a sport, I want to see it played at a very high level.
Sure.
But
for example, to your point, when golf has these challenges, the athletes and the stars that they get are marginal. Even if they're bad, they're playing with Tiger Woods, they're playing with Phil Mickelson, they're playing with the elites of the game, especially the names of the game. And the names that they get to play in these things. Now, obviously, it's a different sport. It's been around for decades and decades and decades on television, so it's a different animal, apples and oranges. I get it. But I'm with you 100%. Getting celebrities that people don't know doesn't work, because then it's very hard to care that they're not good at cornhole. I can get past it if Tom Brady comes out there and throws ones, right? Who cares? It's Tom Brady. Awesome. But someone that no one knows, it's like, why are we watching this? Why are we here?
Yeah. And I got to be honest with you. Bernie, that if I'm watching those pro-ams, the only reason I watch the pro-ams in golf is because they can play a little bit. Yeah. Aaron Rodgers can play a little bit. Tony Romo can play a little bit.
Wait till you see Stephen Curry play in this thing. Stephen Curry can play.
Oh, I know. Yeah. So to my point, if I turn on the game, the match, and Aaron Rodgers is chunking it all over the golf course like I am, I'm going to watch for a couple of holes and I'm going to laugh and I'm going to say, oh, good. I play golf better than he does. And then you know what? I'm going to turn it off. I'm not going to sit there and watch that.
I'm with you. I know how this conversation we're having and we're kind of in agreement on, I know how it's going to play in a different room, and it's not going to play well, because in that room, everything has to be positive, 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 positive. That's why I'm not invited to that room. But I'm not invited to that room anymore for that very reason, because I'm a little bit more of a person that will see the other side of the coin.
But I don't want this to be, again, I don't want this to be misconstrued as negative, because I feel like some of the things we're talking about will be a positive for the sport.
Absolutely. I'm 100% agreement.
It's not this is not a negative on what the hell are we doing. This is a, hey, maybe
let's just do it better.
We've got an idea to do it better. Yeah.
Right.
To make more sense of an urgency, to make more people want to be there, to make more people want to watch, and to make the game more popular overall. So I don't feel like this is a negative conversation. We're just trying to make a few suggestions to change it. But I can tell you something's got to change inside. I don't care if we start piping in some crowd noise. Something's got to happen. I mean,
they're probably going to have to hire somebody else.
Sports.
They're going to have to hire somebody else, because I don't have that ability to get that crowd going every second. They're going to need to get someone that can do it. I don't know if there is someone that can do it. Seriously. Unless we start offering free beer to get people to come in from out, because that's what worked at Nashville.
Free BoarderLine T-shirts.
Yeah, right. That'll definitely get them in. But remember that Nashville experience everyone talks about over and over again, how it was great to have. That was free beer.
Yeah. Well, and the other thing is too, and I just had a conversation with Athena Delgado about this, and let's see, it was Athena, Alan Rawls was there. Chris Kingsbury, I think, was there in on it. It was when we were all out the other night. By the way, it was so great hanging out with all those people. We had so much fun in Fort Worth after that. But something I said was I feel like, and again, just another suggestion. I think we need to start going to the people. We got to find some areas, and I know it's easier said than done, Bernie, and I get it, but I wonder if we can start being really creative on where we book. And if we have to book outside in tents, then we just take our chances. But I feel like we need to go to the people. And in Nashville, I know, I see you shaking your head. I see it.
No outside.
In Nashville, we went to the people. We went, and I get it. It was the arena. We got a one-time deal, and now it's super expensive to go back. But we need to find a way to go to the people, get into the crowds, get to where people are walking by and they're like, wait a second, what? USA Cornhole Championships? Well, shit, let's go watch. Because when we're way out in the boonies of Miramar, Florida, there ain't nobody walking by saying, oh, what?
I'm with you on that.
Professional cornhole? Let's go. There's nobody out there. Like, we got to go to the people. We got to find a way to make it to where people are, get in with them, get into the cities, get into the neighborhoods, get like in minor league baseball, immerse yourself in like marinate in the culture, find a way so that people walking by will be like, hey, let's go. Because right now where we're playing, no one's going to go.
I'm with you, even though I've been to a lot of minor league baseball games that are 3/4 empty. Most of them are. But
hey, perfect example. Sorry, let me interrupt. Perfect example. You and I have talked about this before. Charlotte Knights now versus the Charlotte Knights when they were in Fort Mill. Ain't 100%. Nobody going to those games unless it's fireworks night. Right. Nobody was going there. Yep. No one was going there.
Move it downtown. And then you can walk across the street from that whole row.
Go to the people. Go to the people. Go where they're at.
It's a matter of money. Look, it's a matter of money. I mean, this all comes down to money. If you want to break it down, it comes down to money, plain and simple.
Yeah, I get it.
And look, all the ideas are great. And you want to hear a phrase that I've heard in that room that we talk about so much? They're tired of listening to people that point fingers and say what's best. They want to find people that know what to do. And the problem is you have to find to know what to do with the money that you have.
Yeah.
And for whatever reason, we're still not able to generate the funding that we need as a sport. Don't know why.
It'll get there. We're still so young. I mean, we're still so young. I mean, we're literally what is this year 6 basically of what we can call kind of the modern era.
Yeah, I mean 5 or I mean, yeah, I guess
Yeah,
6 is.
maybe not even 6, maybe 5.
Yeah, it's tough, man. It's
Yep.
super tough. I don't. I'm with you. We've got to find a way to get into venues where people can get to them. I mean, people aren't going to like. We have a hard enough time to get people to walk to our sport, and then we go to certain venues where we're asking them to drive 30 minutes to our sport. Like that's not going to work, right?
Yeah.
That's just not going to work. And so, yeah, I don't
It's
know.
really because and again, I only say this because you and I think just talked about this last week, maybe 2 weeks ago on the show. I only say things like this, and you do too, because we love the sport. We are passionate about the sport, and I am absolutely 100% hooked. And I know if we could just go to the people, if we can just get people to watch, they're going to get hooked like all the rest of us. I mean, it doesn't matter. You can be Joe Schmo from Iowa City, Iowa, like me, and walk into your first event, 1999, going to 2000 in Myrtle Beach, and be blown away, right? And I'm a nobody. Or you can be Deion Dawkins, the starting left tackle of the Buffalo Bills, and walk in. And he's like, what the hell? This is incredible. I mean, it doesn't matter who you are. Everyone loves it. And so I just say these things because I care, because I'm passionate about it. And I want the most exposure possible because I know everyone who watches it loves it. And especially when they watch it done at a high level, man, they really appreciate it and love it even more. It's incredible.
It is tough because there's some games that you can watch people struggle and kind of laugh and it's silly, right? We don't have that game. It's a terrible thing to see when someone's awful.
Yeah,
I think, and I'm with you on that. We've got to find a way around putting awful on TV. But I don't know. I don't know what the way around that is. I don't have a solution, so that's why there's really not much to say.
The only, in my opinion, the only awful that we're seeing, and again, it's fun. At least it's fun. Is Superhole. I'm just when the bags are literally
not even getting
slid, across the floor. That's just not entertaining to me. But maybe that's just becoming. Maybe I'm becoming a cornhole snob. Maybe that's what it is. I've seen it played at such a high level that when I see someone else who's not there or even close, maybe I'm just a snob and I'm like.
Once again, I think we're okay with it if it's someone with enough star power to make it okay.
Yeah, but like I said, I'm not going to watch Aaron Rodgers chunk it all over the golf course for more than a couple of holes. To me, that is just I've got a million things that I'd rather.
That's why they're playing with Tiger Woods, though. That's why they're playing with a player that's going to keep your attention, right? Or you got Tiger Woods and Rory McIlroy or whomever playing. You're going to sit there and watch that, even if Aaron Rodgers is shooting a 7 on a par 3, right? It's different. We got to. How do we find that balance?
Maybe that would be a way to do it, Bernie. Maybe we do it kind of blend it kind of like what we do with the pro shootout side. Same thing with the Super Hole series. So we team each, like on the very first Super Hole, right? Very first one, you team our 4 celebrities with our top 4 players, 1, 2, 3, 4, right? Whatever ranking you want to use, 1, 2, 3, 4. Whoever wins, you're out. You're into the championship. So now next week, it's the 4 celebrities against 2, 3, 4, 5.
Yeah, I know why they did it. They did it to give the pro division more exposure.
I totally understand that.
I know why they did it, and that's what the pro division doesn't even understand. I mean, some of the things they've done is to give more people more exposure. And I don't know if it's work. I'm with you. I don't know if that necessarily works, but I think we're trying to get away from having a mutiny within the pro division.
Yeah, right? But I think that would be something that they would understand, though. I mean, if you're taking the 4 celebrities and it goes to the next 4.
They don't understand.
Then
they all want to be on TV. They're all upset that they're not on TV. They're all upset they're not on TV. If you really want to talk to the pros, ask them. They hate the fact that we push Matt Guy so much. They hate the fact that we talk about Mark Richards so much. They hate it. They detest it. So if you're saying we're going to put the same basically 8 people on TV all the time, they're not going to like that.
You know what, people, and I just had
got to get better. I mean, look, I'm with you. I'm with you on this, actually.
The person I had this conversation with will remain nameless, but similar conversation. But you know what? Everyone hated it in golf, Bernie, and you remember this. Everyone hated it in golf, right? Everyone talked about Tiger Woods all the time. Tiger Woods this, Tiger Woods that.
Made everybody more money.
Absolutely.
He
made everyone in the sport of golf rich and not just players.
Yeah.
Event organizers, TV
I remember
executives.
1997, 1998.
He made millionaires of everybody. So if you don't like that a sport is highlighting a top player who can bring you money, then shame on you.
Yeah,
because
absolutely.
that's what happens.
Once upon a time, if you were ranked 100th in the PGA Tour, you probably had another job. You had another way to bring in income.
For sure.
After Tiger Woods, the guy with number 125 as barely getting his card was a millionaire. He changed everything. And I've been saying that we don't have that person yet. I don't know who our transcendent person is.
It's coming. This is something else I've been saying too behind the scenes, is that at some point there's going to be somebody. Actually, all right, I was just talking with Alan Rawls about this the other day. We were talking about how exciting it's going to be, because someday there's going to be somebody that comes into this game, and Nike or Adidas or Under Armour take notice of this person, and all of a sudden they're like, wait a second, why aren't we in this? Like, we could own this court. Like, Nike could put their damn swoosh across the broadcast court and on the boards and get more exposure doing that than doing pretty much anything, because of all the TV exposure that we have. And Alan asked me, he said, do you think that person's out there right now? I don't know. I'm not sure. I'm not sure if that person's out there right now.
I don't see him. You tell me who they are. I don't see him.
I can't.
I see it's going to be one of the younger kids, and it's going to be an attractive female. And I know people get so upset when you say things like that. It's a fact. Look what Anna Kournikova did for women's tennis, and she never won anything.
Yeah, it's true.
I mean, and then your other people have to be transcendent. And there's some disagreement on this within the intelligentsia of our sport, that, they don't have to be transcendent. They just have to be a great player. It's like, no, they have to be transcendent. They have to be more than just a great player. Yeah. They have to have whatever it, quote unquote, is. They have to have that, and we don't have that person yet.
Yep, we could. I don't know if that person's there yet. I'm not sure, but that will be the day.
Think about Jeff Gordon in NASCAR. Think about Jeff Gordon in NASCAR. But think about how detested he was.
Because Jeff Gordon finally gave Dale Earnhardt Jr. a rivalry. I mean, those two guys hated each other.
Everyone hated Gordon. That was the whole point, because he stood out. He was making money. He was the one on TV every week, and the rest of them weren't. We need that person that's willing to be that guy or that girl. Yeah. That everyone hates because they're getting all the attention. That's what we need. And I just don't think we're there yet to where we have a person confident enough in themselves to be like, you know what, screw the rest of y'all. I'm going to get all the money.
Yeah. Well, and bring it into the sport.
Yeah.
Because that's what Tiger did. Tiger brought money not only into himself, brought an astronomical amount of money to himself, but in turn also brought it to the sport and the exposure, 100%. TV contracts, and it all trickled down. It did. All right, dude, we are quickly running out of time. Everyone always makes fun of us because I say that every week, but we got to get to our power rankings.
All right, let's do this.
This tough one, man. This tough one this week. And you know what? It's so tough. I'm not sure how much I'm going to change mine, because obviously next week is going to change everything, because we are just days away from getting all of our action started in Erie for the second national of the year. All right, is it my turn or your turn to go first?
Who knows? You want me to go? You want to go ahead? You go.
Okay. Man, all right. So number 10, I'm just going to stay true with this just because I have from Corpus Christi. So I'm going Jake Gore. I'm going to keep him at number 10 for one more week, and we'll see how he does coming up in Erie. This is going to be really interesting to see if he can back it up, right? I feel like I'm expecting a lot from a 14-year-old.
I have to tell you this. This is how much I've been involved with Cornhole too much. I had a dream, a literal dream, where the Gore brothers and their family were giving me crap for not having him in my top 10.
Yeah.
A dream.
Yeah, we're around Cornhole way too much. All right, so I'm keeping Jake at number 10 here for one more week. All right, number 9. I feel like my number 9 spot has become your number 8 spot, but you know what? And this is going to surprise Trey Ryder, because Trey thinks that I have a man crush on Jamie Graham, and maybe I did. Maybe I do. But Jamie, I got Jamie out of my top 10. Probably, I think, first time all season. I'm taking him out, and I hate to do that, because I still think he's a championship quality player, but I'm just not seeing it. And again, he won one match this past weekend in Fort Worth in singles and in doubles. So, and then number. All right, so I'll do Jake Gore at number 10. At number 9, I'm going to put Fisher. I'm going to put Fisher Hamilton. Wow. I was, believe it or not, I was actually going between Caleb Batson. Caleb quietly is having he finished 13th, Bernie, in Corpus Christi.
I know
I
he's
mean,
a
he
four
made a
seed.
nice run, and he just made another really good run. He's playing really well right now. But
Yeah.
I'm going to go Fisher Hamilton. I know Fisher didn't finish where he wanted in Corpus Christi, but I feel like he is right there, both on the singles and the double side. So I'm going Jake Gordon number 10. I'm going Fisher Hamilton number 9. And then, I got Alex Rawls at number 8. You and I were talking about this beforehand. Alex was one of those guys. Hey, if he's not in your top 6, you don't know cornhole. Well, you know what? If Alex doesn't play well in Erie, then
Sure.
maybe I don't know cornhole, because he's not going to be in my top 10 if he doesn't play well in Erie. So Jake Gore, number 10, Fisher Hamilton, number 9, Alex Rawls, number 8, Hunter Thorne, number 7. Hunter now top 10 in all 3 major categories in the sport. I mean, he's still really playing well.
Out of control good.
Joe Neested, number 6. Matt Guy, I'm keeping in my top 5, even though he didn't play well down in Miami. But Matt Guy, number 5. Kyle Malone, 4. And then my 3-2-1 is the same. Mark Richards made another really good run in Texas. He's getting close on that pro shootout side. So Richards, 3. Devin Harbaugh, number 2. And I'm keeping Justin Burton Jr. number 1 until next week. I can't wait to see if he can make another great run.
I like it. Number 10 for me is Cheyenne Bubenheim. I think she's right there. You're talking about a player that's a 3 seed in the singles bracket. I think she's kind of taking a step forward. I thought last year she took a little bit of a step back. I think she's taken a step forward. I got her at number 10. Number 9, I have Hunter Thorne. I think Hunter being in the top 10 says a lot. I mean, to be thought of as a top 10 player in the world with the amount of talent that exists in our pro division is extraordinary. So I got Hunter at number 9. My 8 slot, which we've talked about, I kind of is my fun slot. I slide people in and out. After last weekend in Fort Worth and what he's meant to the game, Cody Henderson pops in as my number 8. A guy that literally talked his way to 2 wins. Yep. Literally was beat and done in 2 matches against Logan Chamberlain and Matthew Creek-Killer, and talked his way out of both of those matches. It was unbelievable to see.
I like it. Good pick. I like
number 7, I have Alex Rawls. I still have Alex in. And it's hard to take him out when you don't see him.
Yep.
With Jamie Graham, the reason I don't have him in my top 10 is I've seen him play. There's something wrong. I don't know what. I can't put my finger on it. I don't know if it's confidence. I don't know if he still has some sort of issue with his shoulder that he had earlier in the year. I don't know what it is. I can't put my finger on it. But he's not Jamie Graham right now. When he's back to being Jamie Graham, he'll be back in my top 10 because that's how good he is. But for right now, he's out. I've got Alex at number 7. I got Joe Neested, number 6. It's pretty strong. Joe Neested,
you and I both had him at 6. Yep.
He's become the player that Anthony Ione a year ago said he would be. He has now become that guy. Anthony was right on the money, maybe just a touch early. Number 6. Number 5, Kyle Malone. Still, beginning of the season, he's the best player on the planet. He's dropped all the way down to number 5.
You're right.
Which is still pretty darn good. I've got Kyle at number 5. If I go through, then I've got Justin Burton Jr. at 4.
Wow, wait a second. Are we getting Matt Guy in your top 3?
I had him at number 3 last week, if you don't remember. I think Matt
but
Guy's
but after
really,
what happened
really
in Florida,
well.
He was not the same in Florida, and this is a guy that you didn't even have in your top 10.
Yeah, but he's been playing really well outside of there.
Yeah.
I mean,
he's
outside
of that one performance,
he's a 2 seed right now in the pro singles division. Look, outside of Devin Harbaugh playing like he was from a completely different universe, Matt Guy's on television, and he's a 1 seed. He's in the top 4 in the world again. Okay, so Matt Guy is still Matt Guy. I've got him there at 3. Mark Richards at 2. I'm worried about my number 1, to be honest. It's Devin Harbaugh. I've had Devin 1 all year. I'm going to continue to have him there until I see otherwise. Having that baby, taking some time off, there has to be rust. Has to be.
Yeah, it does happen. Yep.
I'm interested
to see
in
NASCAR all the time with drivers.
I'm interested to see what happens this weekend because he hasn't been playing. He's been doing what he should be doing, taking care of his family. I'm curious to see how much rust is. Look, if he makes a broadcast next weekend, he's not human. That's all I'm going to say. And he deserves to be on everyone's number 1 list after having a baby, all the sleepless nights, all the stuff he's going through. Then, not picking up a bag for a few weeks, goes out, and if he makes a broadcast, dude's not human. But he's still my number 1.
He's at some point soon. He's got to find a way to win one of these nationals or a pro shootout because he's had a terrific career, and right now he's kind of that guy, best player to not win a major, right? I mean, he's right there. So, But man, is he good. He is just slinging it. So I'm with you. All right, dude, we got 5 seconds left. Safe travels. I will see you in Erie. Looking forward to it, man.
All right, brother. See you then.
All right. Thanks, everybody, for watching. See you later.